So I didn't know what I was listening to originally, but man, that is there is just so much drive to that track. It is we Jeff loved that track. I love that track, and I love the drumming. That particular. It's like I don't know if it's related to Kaharwa Tall. I'm trying to think of the name of this particular tall. Like it's
Yeah,
like
I was trying to figure that. I couldn't figure out the beat. It's different.
yeah, it's like a I cannot remember, but they have analogs of it in Indian music, and like it's basically like a type of a shuffle. It's a real stomp and groove, and man, like the singing totally blew my mind, blew Jeff's mind, uh, and we listened to those a couple of those Nusrat records, quite a lot, quite a lot. It's kind of a family band he had with his, I guess maybe even,
Brother
yeah, he
and
had
nephew.
brother and nephew, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and anyways, the man, like the interplay between the harmonium and the vocals, and then I'm trying to think, yeah, his nephew with that very reedy, more
Tenor
nasally
voice.
voice,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, very interesting, man. Just that that was a real like introduction to a whole paradigm
Yeah.
because they played. Uh, well, we were listening to this. My buddy Wade Stevens and I were listening the other day to Three Quartets by Chick Corea, and
Yeah.
so he wasn't super familiar with Three Quartets because it's maybe a generational thing. But I turned it on. I was like, Three Quartets. This is like one of the greatest jazz records of all. Like that means nothing coming from me, but like it's like one of the greatest jazz records of all time. Wade, you got to check this out. And he's like, man, it's like listening to heavy metal or something. It's like Metallica. Because it's real intense. So it was funny. We're listening to a jazz record that has that kind of intensity. Anyways, the Nusrat concert had the intensity and like this carnal, uh, you know, heft, to it.
Like
That
Fela
was,
Kuti,
oh
sort
yeah,
of like
right.
that.
Well, I
Yeah.
was, I was just thinking that it had the effect of a great rock concert.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's kind of what I was getting at is just that it was like heavy and like oh my god it soared like like a great it's like you felt like you had gone to see one of the greatest rock bands of all
Wow.
time in the classic era.
So when you and Jeff were like experiencing that prior to the album, or
That's a good question, like the historical date at which that concert happened. I do not remember if it was before or after we recorded.
oh, okay,
uh,
yeah,
but I remember it was in New York City, probably like uptown, like what's it called, Rockefeller Center? Is that what it's called up there? I think um, it was
like a
one of the
venue.
great venues. Yeah, one of the
Yeah.
great venues. I can't remember where it was, and it's been so long. But yeah, that totally blew our mind, man.
And Kawali music, like that influenced your playing somehow, or
Well, when I start, yeah, I mean, even like when I think about those types of tals, I'm probably incorrectly associating it with Kaharwa tal because I cannot remember a lot of the names. But like listening to the way he plays, uh, that consistent pattern on the dion, like
yeah,
one, two, three, four. That's
and
kind
the
of feel.
baya is very like heavy.
Yeah, and then they crank up the low end on the bion, and he plays these like boom 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 this type overall feel like that. Yeah, you can't not be influenced by that. You hear that groove and the variations of that groove that are happening in real time because the drummer is sort of like the bass player and the drummer.
Yeah, the low end is there. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
on.
I
It's
mean,
yeah. There's
he's
no
kind of
bass
the
player. Yeah,
yeah, he's the low end that with the mic on it is basically a
yeah.
ton of he's the bass player. So like the interplay between the bass player and the drummer is very much like the left hand interplaying with the right hand and vice versa. So oh man, like that was definitely a moment where I even more fell in love with the tabla from the standpoint of Kawali music, which is it's I guess I'd say Kawali music is very driving. It's very hypnotic. It's very much like a rock concert, as opposed to Indian music, which is a classical Indian music, at least,
Yeah.
which is a lot more. It's longer form, and it's can be very slow and ponderous and ruminating.
Yeah.
You know,
Is that what drew like Jeff to Cavalli music, you think? Like that rock aspect of it, or
I think so. Yeah, I do. I actually do think that, and the full, also the family context of these bands, where it's like a kind of a troupe or a tribe, not a tribe, but a troupe of a band. It's a band.
yeah.
Uh, I think a lot of Indian classical does have some of that, but a lot of times it centers around like one soloist with an accompanist. It's a little bit different aesthetic overall, different model, I would say. But anyways, yeah, I think Jeff's interest in Kowali definitely had to do with the very full chested, full throated singing that was really, really amazing with Nusrat.
Yeah.
Uh,
One of a kind,
that
yeah.
is an Yeah, and that's an understatement. Like I was saying, like
Yeah.
I don't even know how to contextualize somebody who can sing like that. I don't even want to talk about it because it's like I wouldn't be doing it justice.
Yeah.
But the power of his voice. Uh, okay, one of the things that I definitely noticed about Nusrat was the size of his voice was enormous. Right, his voice was absolutely like it was megalithic, scale of a voice. Yet he could change so quickly.
Yeah.
Right, he could a very um, uh, he could be very soothing, and then he could be like a complete uh, you know combustion of gasoline, type of very explosive, and people are showing up en masse for it. It's like, man, can you imagine the kind of like musical, the kind of voice, and I came away with like definitely a sense of the gravity of a person like that, and the rareness of a person like that, the rarity.